Sungka. Objectives. At the end of the presentation, students are expected to know what is Sungka, know how Sungka started, be familiar with the materials of Sungka, and identify the mechanics of Sungka.
People often say that to honestly know a country is to immerse yourself with its customs and traditions. Speaking of which, Philippines is a country that is full of customs and traditions. From its language to its local cuisine and delicacies, one can say that the country is a gem. If you think that being able to visit the Philippines, picture sceneries, eating its local food varieties, makes you a real Filipino at heart, you are wrong. Filipino local games like Sungka will make you fall in love more with the country. Sungka, pronounced as Sungka, is a two-player turn-based board game wherein the players compete to obtain more stones than the other. The game unleashes the competitiveness of a person. Somehow, the Sungka game seems to be a mind game. It is also known to improve the mathematical and observation skills of an individual. So, are you excited to learn how to play the Sungka?
Sungka is a count and capture game famous in the Philippines. Sungka is performed on a wooden block referred to as sungkahan or sungkaan. Sungkahan is made up of two rows of small round holes on each side and two larger holes at the board's ends. It is usually a variation of the Mancala game prominent in South and Southeast Asia.
Now, let us proceed to the brief history of Sungka.
As one of the most popular board game in the Philippine archipelago, Sungka is played by Filipinos both young and old. This traditional game, which became a witness of Philippine civilization across the centuries, has become their pastime, may it be with their friends or with their families. Although it originally started as an amusement for ladies only, as reflected in Vicente Manazala's painting.
Historically, Sungka has a complex and unclear origination. Since it is undeniably one of the oldest games in the Philippines, people and even historians are having a hard time tracing the origin of Sungka due to the different colonizations that had happened within the nation, the Philippines. Historical authorities across the globe argue that Malankala, an early version of Sungka played in Africa, may be the oldest game in the world, with almost every culture having some variations of it, is a potential origin of Sungka. Scholars say that the board game may have evolved in Egypt from counters used for accounting, stock-taking. Evidences of these boards have also been found in ancient Sumeria. As for the origin of the term Sungka, historians found relics of an identical game at a stream in Indonesia. The stream is widely known to voyagers as the Red River, is called Sungka by early Asians. The theory upholds that the Sungka game Filipinos play today may have been brought by the Indonesians when they migrated to the Philippine Islands. In 1962, Sungka was first described by the Jesuit priest Father Jose Sanchez, who was born on 1616 in Trieste, Holy Roman Empire of the German nation. He described Sungka in his dictionary of the Bisaya language Cebuano in a manuscript and called it kungit. Father Jose Sanchez, who had arrived in the Philippines in 1643, wrote that the game was played with seashells on a wooden boat-like board. The Aklanon people still call the game kungit. Jose Sanchez is known for founding the town of Jagna on Bohol, which is today famous for its rich historical heritage. Just like other games, Sungka has tournaments in the Philippines, even in Taiwan, Australia, Austria, England, and the USA. The biggest competition is held each year at the Cadayawan Sports Festival in Davao. In May 2006, the Philippine Embassy compound in Pretoria, South Africa, hosted the Sungka tournament during the ASEAN Games and Sports, which was held under the auspices of ASEAN embassies based in South Africa. The 6 winners for the first Sungka game competition were participants from the first Vietnam, second Malaysia, third Malaysia, fourth Indonesia, fifth Philippines, and sixth Indonesia. In 2008, the Philippine Language and Culture Association of Australia Incorporation, or the PLCAA, organized a Sungka competition at the Sydney Regatta Centre, Penrith.
Here are the materials needed in playing Sungka.
Sungka is a traditional dual game played in some of the Asian countries and African countries, wherein they call this game Mancala. I learned this game when I was in elementary. It is actually fun, and the most strategic player will surely win in this game. Sungka is very simple to play because it only requires two materials or equipment. The primary materials needed in playing Sungka are the Sungka board and plenty number of shells, pebbles, marbles, and the like, with the total of 98 pieces. The Sungka board, as you can see in the picture, is typically been made out of wood. However, this game has been known to be played in the dirt by making holes in the ground and even carved in stone. The Sungka board used in the Philippines had 7 regular and identical holes for both sides of the board and 2 large holes at the 2 extremities of the Sungka board, wherein the pieces of pebbles were collected. The player with greater number of collected pebbles will win. This game will also works perfectly with the 6 holes provided in an egg carton if you don't have a Sungka board. Next materials are the 98 pieces, shells, pebbles, or marbles, which are identical in shape. Some more objects will do, like beads and seeds, with nearing size to that of pebbles. 7 pieces of pebbles are placed in each holes for both sides of the board except the 2 large holes called the home or mother, where the collected pebbles of the players will be placed.
Mechanics of Sungka. Mechanics number 1. Put 7 tokens in each of the 14 holes. There must be 98 shells all in all. Mechanics number 2. Each player owns the head to his right. Mechanics number 3. The ultimate goal is to accumulate as many pieces in the player's respective heads. Mechanics number 4. To determine who plays first, the 2 players do a jack and poi or rock, paper, scissors. Mechanics number 5. The player starts by picking up all the tokens from one of his 7 holes or bahay. Then, the player distributes 1 token in each of the 14 small holes and in his own head. Mechanics number 6. But the player must not drop a token into his opponent's head. At the hole where the player releases his last token, he may decide to continue his turn or let his opponent proceed. Mechanics number 7. If the last token is dropped into his own head, the player continues his turn. He picks tokens from any of his own houses and repeats the process of dropping a token into the holes. Mechanics number 8. In the event of the player drops the last token into a house already filled with tokens, he picks up all of its content, and this includes the one he just dropped. Then he continues with the procedure of the game. Mechanics number 9. However, if he drops the last token into an empty hole on his side, he has the right to claim all the tokens in the opponent's hole that is directly across it. Then, he puts the claimed tokens plus the one he just dropped into his own head. This also means that it's now his opponent's turn to play. Mechanics number 10. Likewise, if he drops the last token into an empty hole on his side, and the opposite hole is also empty, he is declared patay or dead. Again, it's his opponent's turn to play. Mechanics number 11. The game continues until both players come to the dead end. Finally, the players count the numbers of tokens on their respective heads. Whoever got the most number of shells, then they won.
And that's the end of our presentation. We are the Sungka group saying thank you and God bless.